Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel. And in today's video I will be wrapping up all the books that I read in April. But before I do that, I just want to start off with the 3 books that I didn't quite finish in time for this video. And the first one of those being Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. I actually started this book back in March and I just haven't touched this since. I don't know why. I actually do really like it. I just haven't felt the urge to pick it up recently. I do want to finish it eventually, I just don't know when. And the next book is Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chupeco. And this one is unfortunately less positive than Lord of Shadows. So I started this book during my reading vlog, and in that vlog I mentioned that I was having a really hard time with this. The world building for me was just really confusing, and based on some reviews I read on Goodreads, that is not an unpopular opinion at all. And I said before that I like the characters in here. I'm not even sure that that's true anymore. I'm not sure when I will be picking this book back up. I don't like the DNF books, but I just can't force my eyes to read these words anymore and I need a break. And the last of those 3 books is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. I had planned to get this book read by the time I filmed this video, but it's May 1st and I just didn't get a chance to get it done. It feels like a very solid read so far, and you'll see it in my May wrap-up. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the books that I actually finished in April. So April was a really rough reading month for me. That being said, I did get done 8 books, but 2 of those were like short little poetry collections. And these first 3 books I'm actually not going to be talking about too much because I have spoiler-free reviews for all 3 of them. And the first book I finished in April, and I've been mentioning this book on my channel a lot lately, but it is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And this book is about a magical land where the king killed all the magicians and got rid of all the magic from it. And during those raids, he killed our main character Zaylee's mother. And eventually Zaylee gets the opportunity to attempt to bring magic back to the kingdom with the help of a rogue princess. And then they are also being hunted down by the prince at the same time, who wants to stop them. I really loved it. I can't wait to continue with it, and I gave it 5 stars. And the second book is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. And this book is about 2 witches. They are best friends. The one is a truth witch, which means she can tell when somebody's lying or telling the truth, and the other is a thread witch, which means she can see the ties that bind everything and everyone together. The truth witch is a very rare type of witch, and if she was ever found out to be this type of witch, then the empires would try to use her in their political maneuverings. And these 2 girls, they just want to go and live their lives and be free from all of that. However, they all get swept up into the upcoming war, and the story goes from there. I had a really fun time with it. I did have my issues with one of the characters in here, so this was a 4-star read for me, but I am very excited to continue with it. And the third of those books is Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan, and this is a sequel to Wicked Saints. So this book follows 3 characters, a girl, a prince, and a monster, and all 3 of them get swept up into the centuries-long war. A lot of saints and gods and magic in here. It's like a gothic story too, and it is a little darker for YA fantasy, I feel like, so I will put a list of content warnings in the description. So this is one of my favorite series ever. Overall, I did have a really great time with it, and I gave it 5 stars. And the next book is The Winter's Curse by Marie Rutkowski. And this book follows the general's daughter, and she lives a very lavish life, as she makes a decision that binds herself to this other character in the book. And he is a character that comes from like the opposite social class of her. Basically, they fall in love, and in order to stay loyal to their own countries, they have to betray one another. So while I was reading this, I would go back and forth about whether I liked it or not. It was very romance heavy, more so than fantasy, I feel like. I felt really distant with all of the characters, and the plot wasn't really anything great for me, but I did like seeing some of the political maneuverings. I thought that was kind of cool to read. But what I liked most about it is just that it was a very quick read for me. And I would say that even though everything about this was really average for me, maybe a little on the lesser side of average too, it did hold my attention for the most part. And this is a little bit of a weird case for me because usually with my lower ratings, they're books that I struggled to get through or have something that I really don't like about them. And that isn't the case here, really. Like, I definitely don't love it. I wouldn't say I liked it either. It was just, like I said, lower average read for me. So I put it at a 3. It's like a 2.75 star. And I am curious to see what I think about book 2. So around this point in April, I got really into poetry again, and the first collection I read from that is In a Dream You Saw a Way to Survive by Clementine von Radics. And this is a poetry collection that deals with topics such as infidelity, divorce, mental health, loss, and love. And I will also have some content warnings in the description for this book. So the writing in here was very brutally honest, and it was in a way that I really enjoyed reading it, and overall I just really respected it. Did I love every poem in here? No. There were things that just didn't quite hit right with me sometimes the way they should have. Gave this particular collection 4 stars, but I am very excited to read more from this author. And the next book I finished is Descendant of the Crane by Joan. And this is a book about our main character. She is the princess, however, her father dies, and she is thrust into all of the responsibilities of the queen, which would be hard enough by itself, but she also thinks her father was murdered by somebody close to her. And this book follows the investigation of that. So this book started out really strong for me. I really liked the writing, and I found the family dynamics to be really interesting. However, the middle of this book really dragged for me a little bit. Some of the side characters did feel a little distant, and it was to the point where it did impact my experience with this book negatively. However, the ending of this book was very good. I don't know if this is going to have a sequel, but if it does, I'll read it. Overall, I would say I had a pretty decent time, but because of that lag in the middle, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read was another poetry collection, and it is It's a Lonely Love by Summerall. This is a poetry collection about love, a breakup, and there are also mental health themes present in this book, and there will be content warnings somewhere for this. This one really wasn't for me. The author really did lay out his heart here, which I do respect a lot. Unfortunately, none of the poems impacted me, and I didn't like a lot of them, so I gave this 2 stars. And the last book I finished in April is It Will Fall by Harian. And this book follows our main character. She is an empath, but that magic has been outlawed in her country. But when an ancient evil threatens the kingdom, the queen calls on our main character and some other outlaws who all have that power to try to stop it. So I've seen this book marketed as Six of Crows meets Suicide Squad. I don't get Six of Crows vibes from this at all, but Suicide Squad I could definitely see. Another thing that I thought was weird is that I was expecting 8 point of views in this, or at the very least multiple of them, and you only follow 1. Which I'm not going to complain about at all, because 8 would have been a lot. A lot of the characters in here felt very one-dimensional, although I do kind of like what I got from them, even if I did want more. This is another one of those books that started out really strong for me, and then just flattened out as I kept reading. And as I kept reading, I just kept getting more frustrated and bored with the story. By the time I was at the end of this, I just really didn't care about it. There were some good moments, but for the most part, I didn't really enjoy myself, so I gave this 2.5 out of 5 stars. I might have rounded that up to a 3 though. Okay, so those are all the books I read in April. Hopefully I have a better reading month where I actually feel like reading in May. I don't want to jinx it, but I do feel like I'm getting back into my reading zone. Although I do think I said that back in my March wrap-up, I don't know. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question right here if you want to do that. And hopefully I'll see you here next time. Bye!